If you've played a shooter game like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Hell Let Loose, Halo, doesn't matter. We've all had at least one moment in our lives where we're shooting at an enemy and wondering, how the hell did they not die? We've all had these moments, and it could be a couple different reasons. Where did you hit the enemy? What weapon were you using? And did you actually hit them, or are you just coping? Whatever the thing may be of why the enemy is not dead, it comes down to at least one factor, and that's the weapon you're using. Hell Let Loose has a wide array of weapons that can do varying degrees of damages, but you really can't see that in the barracks or actually find anywhere that has a set damage number. But there are some people in the community who've come together and actually made a damage chart courtesy of the Hell Let Loose eTool Discord page. And we're going to use that to actually break down the weapons and explain how damage works with the small arms weapons in Hell Let Loose. Now, before we break down the weapons and their damage numbers per weapon type, we need to talk about the damage of when you hit an enemy in certain areas. It's divided into three categories. We're going to start from the top down. If you hit the enemy in the head, regardless of what you're using, it's going to be an instant headshot and lead to death. So there's that. For the body, arms, and the thigh, it is full damage 100%. So if you're using a certain weapon, it will cause 100% damage of, at least depending on range. And I say it in that type because if you hit below the knee, it will actually count as half damage. At least that's how it's broken down in the photo that you're looking at right now. So if you hit someone below the knee, it will cause half damage compared to if you would hit them, say, in the body or the shoulders, the arms, or the thighs. Just for a reference to that. But to break down our first weapons, let's talk about pistols first. Now, pistols are the weakest weapons in Hell Let Loose. They're very short-range weapons. They only have about 6, 7, 8 bullets, depending on what you're using, whether it's a revolver or a regular semi-automatic pistol, and they just don't do a lot of damage. All the factions have the same damage regardless of pistol what you're using, and are a 2-hit kill at 70 meters or less, provided you hit the 100% damage areas that I've already outlined. Anything past 70 meters is a 3-hit kill in the same areas. The next weapon we want to talk about is actually in a category of its own, and it's the M1 carbine. And that's because there's no other weapon like it in the game. And you may be asking yourself, well, shouldn't it fall in the same category as the other semi-automatic weapons? Well, no, because it actually does not do as much damage due to the ammunition that it uses. The ammunition is actually weaker than, say, the M1 Garand's ammunition or the Gewehr 43's ammunition, and so on. It uses a smaller overall round, and the ammunition that the M1 Garand uses, G43, is just overall better in every fashion. The M1 carbine is still a decent weapon, though. At 50 meters or less, it is a one-shot if you hit the main areas where you do full damage. After that, though, it's a two-shot everywhere else, regardless of range, at least according to the data I have from the Hell Let Loose eTool Discord page. Speaking of rifles, let's talk about them. So, regardless if you have a bolt-action rifle or a semi-automatic rifle across most of the factions, they all do about the same damage, and they are some of the most powerful weapons in the game. Now, the only drawback that these weapons have is that they're not fully automatic or they're bolt-action, so the rate of fire is not going to be as good. But these are still really good weapons overall. And at 200 meters or less, they are a one-shot kill if you hit the 100% damage areas. After that, it's a two-shot kill. Now that we've gotten all the semi-automatic weapons out of the way, let's start talking about some of the fully automatic weapons. Starting with the submachine guns, such as your Thompsons, the grease guns, MP40s, those type of weapons. Now, these weapons do shoot the same rounds that pistols use. But the thing that makes up the difference here is that you have more than 7 or 8 rounds. You have more like 25, 30 or more, and you have a very, very high rate of fire, making up the difference for what the pistols lack. Now, since you're using the same ammo as pistols, the damage is going to be mostly the same, but the range drop-off is not going to be as bad. So, up to 75 meters, it is a two-shot provided you hit 100% damage areas. After that, it's a 3-shot kill. Moving on from submachine guns, we have the automatic rifleman type weapons, or just for simplicity's sake, the assault rifle style weapons. These are weapons that essentially fire rifle-style rounds, but with fully automatic capabilities like submachine guns, which give it the best of both worlds. That way you can make accurate shots at longer ranges, but you can use fully automatic fire for close-range engagements. Now, due to probably balancing reasons, these weapons do not do as much damage as their other semi-automatic or bolt-action rifle counterparts. As upwards of about 100 meters, these weapons are a one-shot kill provided you hit a 100% damage area. Afterwards, it is a two-shot kill in the same areas past 100 meters. And this applies to all four factions, regardless if it's the BAR, the FG-42 and STG-44, or the Bren gun. Time for some belt-fed hate. The machine guns provide a lot of fully automatic firepower and can lay waste to anywhere in front of it, provided you have a place to set it up. But this is actually where we have a little bit of differences between the factions. Unlike any other weapon type discussed in this video, the machine guns are actually all different depending on the faction you play and what weapon you use. For the Americans, using the Browning M1919 machine gun you see on screen now, it is a one-shot in the 100% damage areas upwards at 100 meters. For the Germans using the MG34 and MG42, it's a one-shot in the same areas at 35 meters. And for the Russian DP-27 and the British Lewis gun, the one-shot damage areas are at 150 meters. So there is a fair number of differences between the factions, so it's important to pay attention. Probably for balancing reasons due to the low ammo capacity of the British and Russians, but I don't really know. The last classification of weapons to go over are the sniper rifles. Now, these do actually put the other rifles to shame. But there's only 2 snipers in any given game, so there's not many of these rifles around. If you're using a bolt-action rifle like the Springfield, Kar-98, Mosin Nagant, or the British sniper, such as the Lee Enfield, it is a one-shot at essentially any range, provided you hit the target in the 100% damage areas. Now, for weapons like the FG-42 and the SVT-40 sniper version, the damage numbers are essentially the same as their counterparts in the automatic riflemen or other rifle classes for their respective countries, essentially being a one-shot at 100 meters or less. And after that, it's a two-shot hit if you hit the 100% damage areas. Now, I'm going to bring this classification up because I guarantee someone's going to yell at me if I don't, the shotgun. And unfortunately, there actually isn't any solid damage numbers in the Hell It Was ETOL Discord page chart talking about the damage numbers of the shotgun. I think just because they're very inconsistent. The shotgun is overall arguably a very inconsistent weapon, and although you can make some very long-range shots, it really depends on where the spread goes. Sure, it can disintegrate opponents literally if you are close enough, but there's not a set range except for maybe, 15 to 20 meters where you could actually basically disintegrate someone. So this is one where you kind of have to make your own judgment, and there's no hard set numbers of how effective the shotgun is. The bullets can go far, but there's no set damage number to say, oh, it's going to be a 1, 2, 3 shot, whatever. So just take this one with a grain of salt. Now, this is where I got all my numbers. Here's a nice, cool chart. It's all color-coded. Credit to the Hell It Was ETOL Discord page. The people who made this did an excellent job, at least outlining the numbers. And could there be a little bit of fudge factor? Maybe, but these numbers are pretty well accepted, and they are pretty accurate from what I've gathered in game. But obviously, everyone's going to have a slightly different experience. It may not be 100% totally accurate in that sense, but this is the closest thing we have to actually having damage numbers in the game. But here it is, nice little sheet here. Screenshot it. Take a look at the ETOL Discord page, anything, but here you go. So now you understand how damage overall works in Hell Let Loose. This could give you a better sense of what you need to use at a given situation. Are you going to be in a close quarters engagement? Do you have access to semi-automatic weapons? Are you a sniper? Who knows? This just gives you the tools to understand what you need to use and maybe why you didn't kill an enemy, or just in general, seeing what weapons are actually better than others. Compared to something that at least we don't really have a lot of in game, which is the ability to actually compare weapons, and you actually have to figure that out really in game. So this is a way to kind of get you that information without having to step in game necessarily. So I hope you got something from the video, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.